majority countries. And we, as usually, we take our starting point in Iqbal's views. And I think all of us who have been here for these seminars will agree that Iqbal was a progressive thinker in many ways. And he reinterpreted the concept of state, religion, and politics. And he did it based on morality and spirituality. And maybe that is what we need today. But we don't just want to study Iqbal and his views. We also want to look at the relevance of Iqbal today. How do we, or the Muslims, interpret Iqbal today? Is he useful in this respect? And how do we tackle the challenges today, perhaps with inspiration from Iqbal? So we have, again, 2 or 3 parts today of and the first part this morning will deal with Iqbal and his views on democracy. There has been a change in the program. Dr. Mohammad Umar, who is director of the Iqbal Academy in Lahore, he was not able to come, and in his place, another great Iqbal scholar, Mohammad Sharif Baqa from London, has been so kind to give an introduction to Iqbal's view of society. And from there, we will move to more concrete, different aspects of Iqbal's views, or what is relevant for this ethical and spiritual aspects of this theme. And we have there 2 female scholars who will look at this from 2 different angles. And in the second part, or the third part, if you want, we will take it further. We will perspectivize the first part this morning on Iqbal even further, and we will look at Islam and democracy today. We were supposed to look at it in a Middle Eastern context, but unfortunately Laurent Lambert was not able to come. So we have here 2 papers, 2 male speakers who will try to answer the question of Islam and democracy today from where they stand. Now, as usually, I will ask GHULAM SABIR, who is the founder of the Iqbal Academy, and is still, I said that last year, I will say it again, still and again, going strong. SABIR phoned me 2 days ago, telling me that on my answering machine that he was in hospital, and I thought, well, he's not coming then. And then a few hours later, he called me again laughingly, telling me that he looked forward to the Iqbal Academy because he was going to leave the hospital on Saturday and then come back there. Is it? It's still true, yeah. So we are very happy to have you here with us. And you say a few words of welcome.
As you know, Lissi Rasmussen has told you my name is GHULAM SABIR. I am coming from the hospital. I was not able to speak loudly. Thanks that this has been arranged. A mic has been arranged here. I am so happy. Also, I couldn't stand like young Lissi Rasmussen.
Thank you very much. I take it as a compliment.
So I hope you will tolerate me. I have nothing much to say, just to thanks everybody, each and every person for coming here in such a bad weather. It is highly appreciated. I am so happy from my inside that I am seeing you people, all of them, the faces here. I was so ill a few months ago that the doctors told that I will live just 48 hours. But they didn't know God. They didn't know Allah. They are unable to understand why I can move now. I couldn't move my hand, I couldn't move my leg. So that was my condition. So that strengthened our religion in God, our faith in God. And now coming to the point, I will not give a lecture. I have just to thank you that you have come, and Lizzie Rasmussen, Safed Bektovik, and the Center of European Islamic Center. Is that correct? They have arranged all this. They say that I have arranged, but my people are there, I have done nothing. Everything has been done by Lizzie Rasmussen. I am so grateful to her. This is why the people were thinking that I will not be able to come here due to my illness, and I did not care for the doctor to come today. I told, no, this is more important where I am going. Thanks, everybody, again. Thank you.
Okay, we will start our program. We are planning to get started. And our first speaker is Mohammad Sharif Baqa, who is, I heard it, retired professor, but and lives in London and has published many books on Iqbal, on the social political topics. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you very much. Ghulam Sabir Sahab, distinguished guest, it's a matter of great pleasure for me to come here and take part in this seminar about Allama Iqbal. At the request of my friend Ghulam Sabir, there was not ample time at my disposal to write this article. I was given hardly 4 or 5 days. So very hurriedly, I prepared this one. It's called Iqbal's Concept of Society. If I quote Iqbal's Urdu and Persian verses, for example, please excuse me, because you know that in order to elucidate my viewpoint, I have to use Iqbal's poetry as well. Sure. So the topic is Iqbal's Concept of Society. Dr. Sir Mohammad Iqbal, the world-renowned poet-philosopher of the Indo-Pak subcontinent, has played an unforgettable role in the awakening of the subjugated and downtrodden Muslims of the undivided India. Not only that, his superb and thought-provoking poetry had cast tremendous impact on the Muslims of many other countries. His global message of human love and brotherhood had inspired a large number of non-Muslim as well, who strongly supported the laudable values of life. This is why Iqbal's revolutionary thoughts are greatly admired in many countries of the world. He himself was fully aware of this unique aspect of his popular poetry and philosophy. He rightly said, "Ek valvalaye taza diya, maine dilon ko Lahore se ta khake Bukhara o Samarkand. I have given a new enthusiasm to the people's heart from Lahore to the land of Bukhara and Samarkand. It's no exaggeration to say that Allama Iqbal's inspiring poetry, especially his Persian works, have paved the way for many liberation movements in the world. A large number of freedom-loving people hold him in great esteem because he was a very bold and sincere supporter of the poor, oppressed, and subjugated human beings, regardless their color, creed, and race. In one of his poems, he said, "Utho meri duniya ke gharibon ko jaga do, काखे उमरा के दरो दीवार हिला दो जिस खेत से दहका को मुयस्सर ना हो रोजी उस खेत के हर खोशाए गंदम को जला दो." Rise and awaken from their slumber, the poor of this world. Shake the very foundation of rich people's palaces. If a farm does not yield even a meager living for the poor, then burn the wheat plants of that farm. I would like to point out that he was one of those reformers whose aim of life is to reform the corrupt and rotten society of their age. Undoubtedly, he was deadly against all those political, social, economic, and religious systems which are based on any kind of exploitation and injustice. As a matter of fact, his poetry has beautifully and forcefully epitomized the prevailing sufferings of humanity. In his view, a godless society is quite unable to foster excellent values of human love and unity. His concept of society is mainly based on sound moral and religious consideration. He was of this opinion that the faith of Islam is an excellent socio-religious system of life for all human beings. He laid great deal of emphasis on the supreme importance of human respect. While preaching this lesson, he said, "Adamiyat ihtarame adami, ba khabar sho az muqame adami." What is humanity? His question is, what is humanity? Then he answers himself, it is to respect human beings and therefore beware of the high status of man. Then again he said, अभी तक आदमी सैदे ज़बूने शहरियारी है, क़यामत है कि इंसान नौ इंसान का शिकारी है. Man is still a miserable prey to imperialism. How evil it is that man prays about man. As a staunch believer in human dignity and unity, he was opposed to the exploitative system founded on inhuman, unity shattering, and mutual antagonism. We all know that the existing division between workers and capitalists is a constant source of conflict and tug of war. This kind of economic tension is a great stumbling block in the way of social harmony and peaceful coexistence. In short, the economic aspect of his concept of society is based on human welfare, prosperity, and mutual sympathy. He vehemently denounced all kinds of exploitations. According to him, an ideal economic system must be free from mutual hatred and injustice. He did not like the concentration of wealth in few hands. In this regard, he remarked, "तू कादिर व आदिल है मगर तेरे जहां में हैं तल्ख बहुत बंदा मजदूर के औकात, कब डूबेगा सरमाया परस्ती का सफीना, दुनिया है तेरी मुंतजरे रोज़े मुकाफात." O God, thou art mighty and just, but in thy world, the working class endures much hardship. When will the ship of capitalism sink? Thy word awaits the day of reckoning. It is an admitted fact that Dr. Sir Mohammad Iqbal had firm belief in high moral principles and praiseworthy values for the material and spiritual requirements of all human beings, without any distinction of color, creed, race, and nationality. This universal approach and cosmopolitan outlook endeared him to all lovers of humanity. The following quotations from his works are cited here as an example. Number one, he says, in his book, The Reconstruction of Religious Thought, pages 187 and 188, and he says, thus, wholly overshadowed by the results of his intellectual activity, the modern man has ceased to live soulfully, that is, from within. In the domain of thought, he is living in open conflict with himself. With others, he finds himself unable to control his ruthless egoism and his infinite gold hunger, which is gradually killing all higher striving in him and bringing him nothing but soul weariness. So far as Iqbal's concept of an ideal society is concerned, it deserves special study for all of us. His love for an ideal society is frequently mentioned in his prose and poetry. After a thorough study of his political and prose writings, we come to this inevitable conclusions that his religious and social views are closely connected. This interwoven system of his thoughts is worth reading. In his opinion, the faith of Islam is a complete code of life, hence his socio-religious viewpoints are quite inseparable. Let us see how he has repeatedly mentioned various salient features of the Islamic society. His following words will shed ample light on this subject. Number one, these are quotations from Iqbal's writings. And he says, our birth as a society repudiating the ideas of race and language was, as principles of social reconstruction, was due only to our subjecting ourselves to a system of law believed to be divine in origin. Second, the ideal of Islam is organically related to the social order which it created. The rejection of the one will eventually involve the rejection of the other. Next quotation is, he who desires to change an unfavorable circumstances and environment must undergo a complete transformation of his inner being. Here Iqbal quotes the Quranic verse and which says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. There can be no ideal society without ideal men. We need men like Carlyle, Ruskin, or Tolstoy. Iqbal has quoted these words. And the fifth quotation is, each group has right to free development according to its own cultural traditions. Again he says, be hard and work hard, and this is the whole secret of individual and collective life. Again he says, the ultimate, then he says, it's very important that art must have some definite purpose, and the purpose of the artist and writers must be life. Now Iqbal says, the ultimate end of all human activity is life, glorious, powerful, and exuberant. Next quotation is, in the interest of a universal unification of mankind, the Quran ignores their minor differences and says, come, let us unite on what is common to us all. Now the Quranic words are, Ya Ahl al-Kitabe, ta'alo ila kalimatim sawaim bainana wa bainakum, Allah na'budu illallah. Next quotation is, the fate of the world has been principally decided by minorities. So minority also play a very important part in social life. Iqbal says, religion is a power of the utmost importance in the life of individuals as well as states. The powerful man creates environment. The feeble have to adjust themselves to it. Now, it's very important for Iqbal. He says, the most of all, know this fact that man is a social animal. And most of the people, they are under social pressure. They have got no ability to resist the evil forces. Now, Iqbal says it is very important that a powerful man must be there to control the forces, the social forces, and bring about a revolution in the life of the people. Now, Iqbal says self-control in individuals builds families, in communities it builds empires. Now, all these quotations are from Iqbal's writing, so that you must have some idea what Iqbal thought about social life. It will not be out of place to mention here briefly some salient features of Muslim faith for general awareness. Number one, Islam is the religion of internal as well as external peace. It vehemently denounces all kinds of social disorders, injustice, oppression, exploitation, and moral corruption. Number two, it promotes the welfare of all human beings, irrespective of the distinction of color, creed, and race, etc. Its concept of global brotherhood and peace is one of its chief characteristics. Iqbal says, यही मकसूद फितरत है, यही रमज़े मुसलमानी, अखुवत की जहांगीरी, मोहब्बत की फरावानी. It means, this is the secret of nature and also the secret of Islam. What is this? It is universality of brotherhood and abundance of love. I venture to quote here a few verses from the Holy Quran. La tufsidu fil ard ba'da islahiha, and disturb not the peace of the earth after it has been reformed. Again, the Quran says, and do good to others as God has done good to thee, and seek not the violation of peace in the earth, for God does not love those who break the peace. And again, the Quran says, there is no compulsion in religion. Verily, we have made the children of Adam worthy of respect. It is very important that this is one of the chief merits of Islamic faith, that it says, that all human beings must be respected because they are all the creatures of God. I would like to quote here Quranic hadith, a saying of the Holy Prophet, and he said, Al-Khalqu wa Ya'lullah wa Shafqatullah Khalaqillah. It means, all creatures are the family of God. Therefore, you must show kindness to all of them. Like Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and other faiths have also praised the supreme importance of love, mercy, virtue, and tolerance. These scriptures have also condemned inhumanity and warmongering. Let us be united in the name of humanity to enhance the worthy cause of peaceful coexistence and social harmony in this multicultural, multiracial, and multi-faith society. May God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much for this. We now have time. We will see anything if you follow the program for questions or comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for an inspiring and interesting presentation. I think there is no doubt about the Iqbal political ideals
Society.
are very well articulated and formulated in a relevant context. And my question will be about his ideas how to implement those political ideas based on an ethical religious foundation about the universal justice. And does he provide any kind of programs, models, how to implement those ideas? Because Pakistan is just one of the examples.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. The practical, proof of that.
Not implementing the ideas.
Yes, that Iqbal was of this view, that there should be an Islamic state wherein, that all these principles of Islam should be applied. And the establishment in Pakistan is the result of Iqbal's efforts as well. We know, that Iqbal inspired a large number of people, and so that, that he should awaken the Muslims of India from their slumber. And Iqbal's, especially Iqbal's lecture, presidential address at Allahabad in 1930 is very important to know, that all these backgrounds. It's a very lengthy article that was written by Iqbal. Yes, Iqbal said, that this establishment in Pakistan is an example. And then he said forwards, later on there should be some universal kind of establishment, where all human beings, get together. Iqbal was not very aware, that of the importance of this League of Nations. Iqbal said, that this League of Nations, the purpose of League of Nations was simply to unite the nations. Now, Iqbal says, that inside of the nations, they should have united all human beings, not only the nations. So this is why Iqbal said, yes, that all human beings, that should be together. There should be, and he said, that for that purpose, he believed in the Commonwealth of Muslim countries. He said, since Muslims, they have all these values, it will be better for them to establish such a society in the world wherein, that they should unite other human beings, That all religions, they are meant for the purpose of the betterment of humankind. You see, all prophets, in different ages, they were sent down for the guidance and betterment of human beings. So this is why you see, that these reformers, they appear, in different pages, different times, that from time to time they appear on the stage of this verse, for our guidance and betterment. So Iqbal, that he himself said, that I'm a visionary. That he was a visionary, but he also took part in political life as well. And he played a very important part. That Iqbal, there is a letters of Iqbal to Jinnah. They're very important, in which Iqbal has very beautifully expressed, his views, about the establishment of Pakistan and what should we do. And, so Iqbal was a great lover of mankind. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Usma?
Thank you very much for your very lucid speech. You mentioned briefly about the role of minority in a society. Iqbal
Morality? Minority, yeah. This is why I just quoted, that Iqbal's words, he says, that communities, they have decided the fate of nations, And he said, that the Europe, that has known this lesson, that. So the communities, they have got, all their rights, their rights must be protected. And in a true Islamic state, you see, that the rights of non-Muslims, they are fully protected. So since, they are the citizens of that one, so they, that their life will be secure, their property will be secure, everything will be there. So this is why, that it is the responsibility of an Islamic state to safeguard their rights there, It does not mean, that Islam, that compels them to enter into the fold of Islam. No. The Quran clearly mentioned, there is la ikrah fi din. There is no compulsion religion. We cannot compel other people to accept it. And it's a historical fact, that when the Jews were persecuted in Europe, and they took shelter, you see, in Muslim countries there, So Islam, that gives protection to the oppressed people.
Great. Thank you.
Any other question?
Any questions? Anna, do you have some question?
I will have later on.
Thank you.
Is there anything in Iqbal's contribution that would be useful today? For instance, in what is going on in the Middle East? In the Middle East, in Syria, where people are struggling.
Yes, Iqbal has talked about Arab imperialism, and Iqbal said, that it is very wrong for the Arab countries, that to believe in nationalism. Iqbal, that did not believe in dividing mankind into different watertight compartments or warring groups, So he says, nationalism, unfortunately, there is so many, much, Iqbal has said about nationalism. So he said nationalism is, not very conducive, that to the welfare of human beings, because it has got a very limited approach. That's only, your country, my country, I love my country. So it means, that we have divided mankind into different groups, isn't it? So this nationalism, Iqbal was against it. So he wanted to unite all human beings on a broad-based concept of unity, brotherhood, and universality of love, etc. So no, and he says, in one of his verses, he says, "Mazhab nahi sikhata, apas mein bair rakhna." No religion ever preached hatred. All religions, they say, that all human beings, they are the family of God. They must live together. There must be peaceful coexistence in the world, and this is the only solution of our problems. I remember, you see, that a very well-known historian, he wrote, he says, that this race problems, in Europe especially, It has to be solved. And he says, fortunately, Islam has got the solution. It is a different thing, that the Muslims do not practice these principles. And this is why, that they have become a decadent society. So since, that left these universal values, and this is why, that they are lagging behind. And Iqbal, was not totally against the achievement of modern technology, etc. And his last broadcast was, about this one. He said, there's no doubt that the modern world has made remarkable progress in the field of science and technology. He says, that this pride is justified. But he says, that above all, human beings, must be respected. It is very important, that human beings, wherever they are, they must be respected because, they are human beings, It does not mean, that what color they have, what religion they profess, etc. So this is why very important, that humanity is the gist of all religious teachings, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, or other religions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this very good introduction to Iqbal's thoughts, and we will keep them in mind, for the rest of the day when we move on to other aspects of this overall theme of Islam and democracy. So we will take a short break, and there is coffee and tea in the other room.
I thought you have forgotten.
You have noted it, yeah, I think so. So what should we say, 10-15 minutes maximum. We need some time to put this projector. Your attention has to be on this side. So please, if you... Or you want to wait?
No, I can sit there because I'm not using it.
You're not going to use it. Okay, sorry. So